What is earnest money? Earnest money is the money from the buyer that indicates the buyer's level of sincerity. This money is held in an escrow account, which is managed by the escrow or title company for the contract period. So how does it work?
The buyer writes a check with the offer and gives the check to their real estate agent. The offer is then presented to the seller. Once the offer is accepted and becomes a contract, the money is immediately placed into an escrow account on behalf of the buyer. When the sales transaction closes and the sale of the house is finalized, the earnest money can be applied to the closing costs or down payment.
The earnest money indicates the buyer's level of sincerity because these funds represent the level of risk a buyer is willing to take in order to purchase the home. The disposition of the earnest money depends on how the contract goes. Let's take a look at a few scenarios.
Let's take the example of Joe Bob Buyer, who has a contract to purchase the home of Sally Seller. If Joe Bob Buyer buys Sally Seller's home, the earnest money is applied toward the final sales costs.
Of course, there are valid reasons to cancel a contract, which we call contingencies, that are written into the contract that protect homebuyers. For example, if Joe Bob Buyer finds that the roof is bad and Sally Seller won't fix it, Joe Bob may cancel the contract and get his earnest money back.
However, if Joe Bob Buyer cancels the contract to buy Sally Seller's home for a reason that is not a contingency, Joe Bob may lose his earnest money. In this case, the money is given to Sally as full restitution for any damages that may have been caused by the buyer's failure to complete the contract.
How much earnest money is appropriate? Well, like all other terms of the purchase contract, the amount that is appropriate is determined by the agreement between the buyer and the seller. A buyer who offers a very high amount of earnest money indicates that they are serious about the offer and they probably won't walk away. Likewise, a buyer that offers very low earnest money is suggesting that they don't want to risk very much in order to acquire the home. As a result, buyers that offer low amounts of earnest money are less likely to have their offers considered by the seller. A good rule of thumb for the right amount of earnest money is to offer approximately 1% of the purchase price.
Using this rule of thumb, a buyer offering to buy a home for $150,000 would include earnest money of $1,500, and a buyer offering to buy a home for $500,000 would include earnest money of $5,000.
The 1% rule of thumb seems to strike a good balance between the buyer and the seller's needs for balancing their risk. Of course, each situation is different and will depend on your circumstances and the current real estate market. Whether you are buying or selling a home, I'll be happy to guide you through the process. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please be sure to share it with your friends. Until next time, make it a great day.